Hi guys! Welcome back to Champ's Japanese Kitchen! So today, we're gonna make a melt in your mouth braised pork dish, which is called Kakuni. So, let's get cooking! Before we begin, I'd like to say a big thank you to Tokyo Treat and Sakurako for sponsoring today's episode. With the Tokyo Treat subscription box, you will receive over 20 unique limited edition seasonal snacks each month. And with Sakurako, you get more traditional snacks as well as a beautiful piece of Japanese tableware. I'm always surprised by all the great stuff that both boxes come with every month, and there are snacks that even I've never tried before. Now back to the video. Okay guys, the first thing we want to do today is prepare our pork. I have a block of pork belly here with a nice layer of fat. This will be important as we're gonna slowly cook our pork later, and the fat will keep our meat juicy and flavorful. First, we want to wipe off any excess liquid with a paper towel, and we're gonna cut that into even-sized blocks, maybe about 5 to 6 centimeter wide. The next thing we want to do is make sure these blocks don't lose their shape while we cook them. I have some kitchen twine here, and we want to tie that around almost as if we're putting a ribbon on a little pork present. Now, the next thing we want to do is brown the outside of our pork before we slow cook. I've added some rice oil to a frying pan on a low heat here. We want to try and give every edge of our pork a little bit of browning. And having a crispy exterior will also help it keep its shape as we slow cook it. Now, once each side has a nice golden brown color, we will take these out. And a lot of fat melted off our pork as we cooked on a pan. If your meat seems quite oily or fatty, it may be a good idea to run some boiling water over them in a sieve. This will prevent our final dish being too oily or greasy. And then, just give these another pat down with a paper towel. Next, we're gonna be slow cooking our pork in a pot for 2 hours to get the meat nice and soft. But we wanna prepare some aromatics to add to the pot also. First, I'm gonna use the head of a Japanese green onion, which we will add to the pot just like this. And next, I have a ginger root here which I'm gonna roughly chop. Don't worry about peeling off the skin. And next, I've put 1 liter of water into a saucepan here, to which we're gonna add 1 piece of dried kombu to release some umami flavor. And then, we're gonna add 200 milliliter of Japanese cooking sake, or 1/5 of the amount of water if you're using less. And then finally, we will add our ginger and green onion from before with our pork. Now, it's time to turn up the heat and let that reach a boil. But before it completely starts to bubble, we want to remove our kombu, or else it'll add a bitter flavor to our kakuni. Anytime you use kombu, it's better to take it out just before your water begins to boil. Now is an important point. If we were to just let this bubble away for a couple of hours, it is likely our pork will break apart. So we want to put what we call Otoshi-Buta on top of the ingredients. In Japan, you can usually find these adjustable metal products that sit in the water, preventing the ingredient from moving around as it boils. But if you can't find something like this, adding a smaller lid on the pan over our ingredients works just as well. And if you don't have that, you can even make your own Otoshi-Buta with cooking paper. Take one sheet of cooking paper about the same size as the top of your saucepan, and we will fold this into quarters before cutting the outside to make it a circle. Then, we will fold this down the middle 2 more times, just like this. Cut off the tip of the paper, and then add 2 triangle-shaped cuts on either side, just like this. And when we open it up, it'll look like this. A super easy Otoshi-Buta, or really bad origami. Now, with both our Otoshi-Buta and our normal lid on our saucepan, we will let our pork cook for 2 hours. Once 2 hours magically passes, because of the magic of editing, we will take our pork and we want to drain the liquid in our pan with a sieve. We're gonna use this later, so don't throw it away. But since a lot of the pork fat has melted into it, we're gonna let that sit until it cools down, so we can easily remove the fat as it floats up later, just like this. Next, we're gonna finish cooking our pork and some other ingredients in the sauce that will give our dish its flavor. So let's get everything prepared. I have the top half of a Daikon Radish here, and a tip if you're using a Japanese Daikon Radish, the top half is more sweeter than the bottom half. So if you can, try to use the top. We will remove the skin and cut this into rings. Then, cut those in half. You can also go around the sharper edges of the radish with the knife like this. This is called mentori in Japanese, and we do this because it's less likely to fall apart when we cook. Next, let's prepare some spinach, which we will just add in boiling water. We will hold it so the root end cooks for 20 seconds. And then, let the whole of the spinach cook for an extra 10 to 20 seconds. Before draining that off with a sieve, make sure not to burn your hand with the boiling water. Why? Ooh, no reason. Next, we are also gonna make some soft-boiled eggs. And the trick here is that if we pierce a hole in the round part of the egg before we boil, the shells will come off easier. We will put these in boiling water for 6 minutes and put them in cold water for a minute or so. Take off the shells and done! We can also use this time to prepare some finely sliced green onion that we can add as a topping to our dish when it's done. Now that's all done, it's time to create the final sauce that will soak into the pork, radish, and the eggs. Into a saucepan, I'm gonna add 600 milliliter of the liquid we set aside before, and then 200 milliliter of Japanese cooking sake, 2 tablespoons of beet sugar, 2 tablespoons of mirin, and 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. And while that's heating up, we will add the pork and the radish, but not the eggs just yet. And like before, we wanna put an Otoshi-Buta, and we're gonna let that sit on a low heat for an hour. I have to wait for an hour until it's done. So boring. What should I do? Go!
ねえちゃんぽんつまんないから僕と遊んでよ
Okay, Box. You got it. This month, Tokyo Treat is themed Snacking Shibuya and contains a bunch of pop culture snacks from all around downtown Tokyo. There's pudding-flavored Kit Kats, cookie and cream waffles, caramel popcorn soda, and more. And the theme for Sakurako is Taste of Hokkaido, filled with authentic snacks and sweets from Japan's most northern prefecture. I especially like this dorayaki, which is a traditional Japanese sweet filled with red bean paste, or anko in Japanese. Everything also comes with a little booklet so you know exactly what you're getting and whether there's any allergens. There's also explanations about Japanese culture too. Check out the description below if you want to try Tokyo Treat or Sakurako. Enjoy! After your hour eating delicious sweets and talking to a box is done, we will check that our radish is soft. Turn off the heat. And finally, add the eggs into your pot and let sit for another 15 minutes. And then it's time for the braised for Kakuni is done! So let's get ready to eat it! いただきます! It melts in my mouth. I didn't bite at all. ベロで転がしただけで溶けちゃいました。It's so soft. Today, we made Kakuni by itself. But it also tastes great as donburi over rice. 料理屋では角煮はお肉だけで出てくることも多いです。だけど僕はヘルシーな日本料理を紹介したいので、今日は大根とほうれん草も一緒に作りました。So, please enjoy healthy Japanese dish at your home. And remember, after we eat the meal, we all say, ごちそうさまでした!